Johnny Carson death drowns in pain for the secret and tries to escape the pity of his wives. Johnny Carson was born John William Carson on October 23, 1925, in Corning, Iowa, grew up in a small-town environment. His family later moved to Norfolk, Nebraska, where Carson spent most of his childhood. From an early age, Carson showed a keen interest in performing. By the age of 12, he had already developed a passion for magic, performing his first act as the Great Carsoni. His early performances, which included entertaining friends and family, laid the foundation for his future as one of the most beloved figures in American television. Carson attended Norfolk High School and, following his graduation, enlisted in the U.S. Navy in 1943, where he served as an ensign during World War II. After the war, he returned to civilian life and enrolled at the University of Nebraska. It was there that he continued to hone his performance skills, studying speech and drama. Carson's love for comedy, timing, and storytelling grew during these formative years. He graduated with a Bachelor of Arts degree in 1949, further setting the stage for a career in show business. Johnny Carson's career in broadcasting began in the late 1940s, with a position as a radio announcer at WOW Radio in Omaha. His quick wit and natural charisma were soon recognized, and by the early 1950s, he transitioned to television. Carson's first significant television gig was hosting Carson's Cellar, a local variety show in Los Angeles, where he displayed a knack for improvisation, humor, and captivating an audience. His work on the show attracted the attention of comedian Red Skelton, who brought Carson on as a writer for his show, The Red Skelton Hour. In 1954, Carson's big break arrived when he filled in for Skelton during a live performance after Skelton was unexpectedly injured. Carson's performance was met with rave reviews, proving that he was not only a talented writer but a performer destined for stardom. His ability to engage the audience with his sharp humor and relatable persona made him a standout. In 1962, Johnny Carson took over as host of NBC's The Tonight Show from Jack Paar, a move that would cement his place in entertainment history. Under Carson's leadership, the show became the most watched late-night program in America, turning The Tonight Show into a cultural institution. For 30 years, Carson delighted audiences with his comedic monologues, celebrity interviews, and memorable skits. His ability to remain relevant across generations and adapt to shifting cultural trends was a testament to his incredible talent. One of Carson's trademarks was his opening monologues, which became a nightly highlight for viewers. Carson's humor was often self-deprecating, and his charm lay in his ability to poke fun at both himself and the absurdities of daily life. His comedic timing and natural rapport with his audience turned these monologues into a nightly ritual for millions of Americans. Whether he was joking about politics, celebrity mishaps, or everyday life, Carson knew how to walk the fine line between humor and wit, avoiding offense while making people laugh. Throughout his tenure on The Tonight Show, Carson introduced a diverse array of celebrity guests, politicians, musicians, and comedians. Carson had an incredible gift for interviewing. He could make his guests feel comfortable while still drawing out candid, often humorous, moments. Some of the most iconic moments in television history occurred on The Tonight Show during Carson's reign, including the early appearances of future stars like Robin Williams, David Letterman, and Jerry Seinfeld, as well as memorable interviews with legends like Frank Sinatra, Muhammad Ali, and Elizabeth Taylor. Perhaps one of the most famous recurring segments was when Carson played the character Karnak the Magnificent, a mystical soothsayer who would divine answers to unknown questions sealed in envelopes. These skits became legendary, highlighting Carson's comedic genius and improvisational skills. Another memorable moment came in 1982, when a young unknown comedian named Drew Barrymore, at just 7 years old, charmed Carson in an interview that showcased his skill in handling interviews with people of all ages. Johnny Carson's impact on the late-night talk show format is immeasurable. He didn't just host The Tonight Show, he defined what late-night television could be. Carson's relaxed demeanor, combined with his razor-sharp wit, made him a comforting presence for millions of viewers. His ability to engage with guests and transition smoothly between humor and seriousness set the template for every late-night host that followed. His influence is evident in the careers of many late-night hosts such as Jay Leno, David Letterman, Jimmy Fallon, and Conan O'Brien, all of whom have cited Carson as a key inspiration. Carson also had a unique relationship with his studio audience, giving them a sense of being in on the joke. His subtle glances at the camera, often accompanied by a smirk or raised eyebrow, allowed viewers at home to feel as though they were part of the conversation. This was a hallmark of his approach and one of the many reasons he became beloved across America. While Carson was adored by the public, his personal life was often marked by challenges. Carson was notoriously private off-camera and maintained a certain level of distance from the limelight when he wasn't performing. He was married 4 times, with each marriage ending in divorce, which often became a topic of public discussion. His relationships were strained due to the pressures of his high-profile career and the demands of fame. Despite his on-screen jovial personality, Carson struggled with inner demons, including a lifelong battle with alcoholism. He was open about some of these challenges, particularly later in life, and sought to live a more peaceful and quieter existence after his retirement. In 1992, after 3 decades of hosting The Tonight Show, Johnny Carson decided to retire. His final episode aired on May 22, 1992, drawing one of the largest television audiences in history. Carson's farewell was a deeply emotional moment, not just for him but for millions of viewers who had come to see him as a constant in their lives. His final words on the show were a heartfelt expression of gratitude to his audience. "I bid you a very heartfelt good night." Following his retirement, Carson largely stepped away from the public eye, opting to spend his remaining years in privacy. He made occasional appearances but never returned to regular television. Despite this, his legacy continued to grow, as his influence on comedy, television, and American popular culture became more and more apparent over time. Johnny Carson, the iconic host of The Tonight Show, was a man whose life was as captivating off-screen as it was on. While he entertained millions with his quick wit and charm, behind the scenes, he navigated the tumultuous waters of personal relationships, ultimately marrying 4 women throughout his life. His first wife, Joan Jody Morrill Walcott, whom he married in 1948, was his college sweetheart. Their union, however, lasted only until 1963, marking the beginning of a complex emotional journey for Carson. Their divorce was painful for both, especially since it preceded the tragic death of their only son, Richard, in 1991. Richard's sudden passing after a car accident on a scenic coastal road was a blow that Carson could never fully recover from, adding an immense weight of grief and sorrow that would shadow him for the rest of his life. Carson's second marriage to Joanne Copeland in 1963 was another chapter of struggle. The couple divorced in 1972 after a long and often contentious relationship. The aftermath of their separation saw Carson, known for his humor and charm, become a target of legal battles, which he approached with a mix of humor and despair. The financial implications of the divorce took a toll on him, especially under California's community property laws, which mandated that Joanne was entitled to half of their accumulated assets despite Carson's dominant earning power. The comedic juxtaposition of his professional success against his losses often played out in the public eye, culminating in a settlement where Joanne received nearly $500,000 in cash, art, and a lifetime alimony of $75,000. Following Joanne, Carson's third marriage to Joanna Holland in 1972 brought its share of challenges. The couple's relationship deteriorated, leading to a highly publicized divorce filing in 1983. In a moment that showcased Carson's ability to find humor even in dark times, he quipped on The Tonight Show about receiving a gift certificate to a law firm, a reflection of the stress and chaos surrounding his personal life. The settlement, spanning 80 pages, granted Joanna a staggering $20 million in cash and property, emphasizing the financial and emotional stakes involved in his relationships. Carson's humor, often a shield against the pain, was his way of coping with the tumultuous reality of his marriages and the resultant legal battles. In stark contrast to the challenges he faced with his first 3 wives, Carson's fourth marriage to Alexis Moss in 1987 marked a new beginning. Their meeting, described as serendipitous, Carson offering to refill her empty wine glass on the beach, seemed to signal a shift towards a more fulfilling partnership. However, even in this union, the specter of Carson's past loomed large. Their relationship would endure until he died in 2005, but the pain and scars from his earlier experiences were undeniable. Carson's personal life was also overshadowed by the consequences of his decades-long battle with smoking. A heavy smoker for most of his adult life, Carson's addiction to Pall Mall cigarettes took a severe toll on his health. By the late 1970s, he began suffering from chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, a condition that would eventually lead to his demise. Despite the diagnosis, he continued to smoke heavily, a testament to the struggle between his desire for health and his addiction. On March 9, 1999, Carson faced a critical moment in his health journey when he underwent emergency quadruple bypass surgery after suffering a severe heart attack. This near-death experience marked a significant turning point in his life, highlighting the gravity of his health issues and the choices he made throughout his life. Ultimately, on January 23, 2005, Johnny Carson passed away at the age of 79 due to respiratory failure caused by emphysema, a cruel end to a life that had been filled with both incredible highs and devastating lows. Despite his larger-than-life persona on television, he was known to be shy and reclusive off-camera, often avoiding large parties and social gatherings. This dichotomy between his public and private self paints a portrait of a man grappling with loneliness even amidst fame. Carson's legacy is a complicated tapestry woven with threads of love, loss, and laughter. His relationships, marked by both affection and strife, reveal the profound impact of personal tragedy on even the most celebrated public figures. The pain of his life experiences, particularly the loss of his son and the trials of his marriages, served as an undercurrent to the humor and charm he so effortlessly portrayed on screen. As fans remember Johnny Carson, they must also consider the man behind the curtain, a figure deeply human, filled with complexities that transcended his iconic role as a television host. His journey reminds us that even those who bring joy to the lives of others can carry burdens unseen, making his story all the more poignant and relatable.